Okay, let's move on to card number 2 from our online stamp club for November, featuring the faux watercolor technique. So in your kit, you received 3 packets to make 3 different cards. This is card number 2. So we have crushed curry as the card base, a piece of thick whisper white, a piece of the Painted Harvest Designer Series paper, and a piece of ribbon. This is the 3/8 classic weave whisper white ribbon with a bow. This has been cut with the seasonal layers border framelit. The thick whisper white cardstock measures 4 1/4 by 5, and of course the card base is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. And what I've done to round the corners is I've just taken my envelope punch board and just punched the corners just to round them. I love the envelope punch board. Sometimes I think it's a forgotten tool, but it sure is handy to have. So here is the first card from this month's stamp club, and this uses the watercolor cardstock. And on this card, we're going to use the thick whisper white. So we're not going to want to use as much water because obviously this won't absorb the water as well as the watercolor cardstock or the shimmery white cardstock, which we're going to use on the last and final card. So I have rubbed this piece of whisper white with my embossing buddy. Now I'm inking up my flower from the You've Got This stamp set, which is the feature stamp set for this month's club. But if you don't have the stamp set, use what you have. And I'm just stamping this right in the middle, just like that. Whoops, that didn't come all the way through. That's all right. We're going to do it again on the other side. So, again, use my embossing buddy. Re-ink my stamp. And stamp it down. That's a better image. Okay, now this time we are going to emboss with our gold powder. Sprinkle off the excess. And we're going to sap that with the heat tool. Okay, so this is embossed, looking very, very pretty. Now, we are going to grab the aqua painter, just like we did in the previous cards. Piece of paper towel. And just a reminder, this is the thick whisper white cardstock, so we don't want to saturate it as much with water as we did with the previous card. So, making sure my aqua painter is clean. We'll come down a little bit closer here for you guys. We are using Garden Green, Crushed Curry, and Calypso Coral. So what I'm going to do is a light, soft wash of color onto this cardstock, and then I'm picking up some of that ink, and I'm just randomly scribbling it onto my flower. Okay. Cleaning it off my paper towel, and now I'm going into my Calypso Coral. I've added a bit of water so that it's not too intense, and now I'm going to go back in. Now if you add too much water when you're using whisper white or a thick whisper white, you will be able to tell because the paper will kind of bubble a little bit. So you really want to watch for that. But I wanted to show you the different looks that you're going to get depending on the cardstock that you use. Very, very different results. So now I'm just going back in, adding some more of that Calypso Coral. Okay. Looking very pretty. I really love this technique. Okay, clean that off, and now I'm going to go back into my crushed curry, And as this dries, you can go back and add more color just to brighten it up, make it a little bit more intense. Whoop, missed a petal down here. There we go. Very, very pretty. I love how the colors just blend together. Alright, so now we want to do our stem. So I know I got a little bit of orange still on my aqua painter. Not gonna worry about that too much since I'm putting a darker color on top. And the garden green will actually look pretty on top of that. So now I'm picking up some of my garden green, adding a little bit of water, and going on to the stem, and then filling in my leaf. So when you've got your cardstock lightly moistened, then when you add your ink, it just naturally flows between the embossed lines, which is really great. Now I'm just adding some more of that garden green just to add some intensity to the leaves, and a bit more on the stem as well. Can you see how pretty that is, you guys? Oh my gosh. And with that gold embossing, so nice. Okay, so let's finish the card. Push these out of the way. Just taking my snail, and this is going to go right along the bottom. Just like that. Okay. And then I'm going to put some snail on the back and wrap this ribbon right around the front. Oops, sorry, let me pull the camera out a bit so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, and then I'm just folding those ends under. Okay, so I've put some snail behind this, and this is going on right like that. And then you're going to take a glue dot for the bow. I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller and trim the edges off. Okay. And then the last step is adding the sentiment, which I'm going to do with the You've Got This. So for this, I'm going to use my good old Stamp-A-Majig. Love the Stamp-A-Majig. And I'm trying to decide if I should emboss this in gold or stamp it with one of the ink pads. I think I'm just going to go ahead and stamp it with the garden green. So stamping, I got my positioner around the plastic, which is great because then you can like decide where you want this, and do this before you put the bow on because it's going to be tricky to line up the handle. In fact, I'm actually going to take the bow off, so pretend I didn't put that on. Okay, so now I'm just going to position this, I think right there. Put my handle down, re-ink my stamp. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm just going to take a glue dot and put my bow onto my card. Just going to trim this up a bit. I think we need another glue dot just to hold that in place. There we go. And there you have it. Isn't that pretty? And of course, you can take a piece of computer paper and round the corners and tuck that inside your card. All right, so that, my friends, is card number 2 of the Faux Watercolor technique, which is November Stamp Club. And we are going to move on to the last card, the 3rd card, and that is another fun way of using this Faux Watercolor.